Today we're going to talk about highlights and how to make information stand out in a Spark process. So there's a number of features that will help highlighting, emphasizing information, finding the relevant information. I think it's as much relevant as for the end users. The highlight feature that I will show you is available to end users, to viewers. I will also show you a couple of features that are a bit more specific to editors and what you can do to highlight or put emphasis on. So as usual, when process mapping are here for a reason, and our users are also looking at this process map for a reason. So it's always interesting to know why. I will base my demo on one of these processes I keep using all the time, the marketing campaigns approval thing. And the first feature that I wanted to look at today is, if I am a marketing analyst, for example, to name one of the roles that are in this box, how can I very quickly identify where are the boxes that are relevant to my role? So for that, we have a feature called the highlights, which highlights. There's a number of things we can highlight. I will show you, but it's really powerful. I think the first main usage is about highlighting for roles. So let's say I'm a marketing analyst. I can click on the highlights, click on the roles, and then it will show all the roles that are relevant in this very process. I highlight it, and you will see the process will update, and it shows me. Not only it highlights the boxes where my role is present, it also fades out the others to make it even more stand out. So this is very powerful because it really shows me, all right, these are the two boxes where this marketing analyst is present. And at a glance, I can see that here is working with someone, he or she works with someone else, where here they are on their own. This I think this is only one part of the feature. What's most exciting about this feature is if you go back to the workspace level. So let's go at the workspace level. It will also highlight all the folders and the process cards where this role is highlighted. So it really creates like a guided path to finding relevant activities for your role. So if I'm going into marketing, you can see the marketing process RACI, and then I can see here, it highlights the little drop-down icon to tell me, all right, you are involved in one of these lower levels of this activity, and then it really guides me down to the right place. So that's a very powerful feature, I find, for both end users. I'm a marketing analyst, but also when we are in a process workshop, we're doing transformation projects, we'd like to just assess some roles, if they are where are they used, where are they not used. So that can be used in all sorts of scenarios. When a role is highlighted, it will be highlighted pretty much everywhere we have roles. So if I'm going to the business tools, and again, it will be highlighted here. Let's go to the marketing manager, and everywhere the marketing analyst is mentioned, it will be highlighted. So it really makes it stand out all over in the application. And this can be useful for the end user, for the people with the role of marketing analyst themselves, or for a more business analysts, like people like us, running workshops, trying to understand our processes and where people are involved. The same feature about highlights is very flexible. We can highlight roles, but I mean the same applies to systems. All right, I can highlight all the boxes, and they accumulate. All right, I can highlight several things at once. All the boxes with CRM. It can also be used. It's a bit of a different use case that maybe is more relevant for business analysts. It can also be used to highlight any box with a given custom fields. So let's say I want to look at all the boxes that have a business requirements to them. And I can also highlight custom fields, which is interesting to know, all right, what are the boxes that have a business requirements associated to them? Conversely, it helps me identifying the boxes that don't have a business requirements yet. Maybe that's also what I'm looking for. And we can also highlight forms and highlight boxes with a specific activity types, such as, all right, I want to make all the boxes that are decision, I want to make them stand out in my process. For the sake of analysis, it can be interesting to highlight how many times in the process we have decision points. So the highlight, we released that last year. It's very flexible, and I really like it because of this visual approach, making things stand out in on the process. But that's not the only way we have to show information on a canvas itself. So let's go back to this idea of the business requirements that I've captured here. So on this box, review past campaign performance, I have a business requirements must have. I can also decide to show some information directly on the canvas. So if they are on the paperclip, I can just promote them basically by clicking this tiny icon here. If I'm hovering over my custom field in my case, but it works for any attachments really, I can say field is not shown on the canvas, click to make it visible. So now when I click on this icon, it will be visible here on my canvas. Okay, so that's very good. When we are in analysis mode, sometimes, or when we are using for the quantify module, I find it works very well to make everything visible on the canvas. I will show you what I mean. So if I'm doing more forms, adding quantify, so let's say this box preview past campaign performance takes 2.5 hours. I'm capturing the data here, and then I show it directly on the form itself. Okay, so that's quite powerful. Now, let's say for the sake of the examples that we'd like to find everywhere I have some business requirements. So I could use the highlights as we've seen 2 minutes ago. There's another feature called the fields visibility or forms visibility. So forms visibility, I can come here. So sorry, to follow my train of thoughts. The highlight will just tell you if this box has or doesn't have the business requirements. Now we'd like to actually show this, but I don't want to open all my boxes one by one and find in the attachment if they have a custom field, okay? So what I can do is I can go to this field forms visibility feature on the bottom left, just next to the highlights on purpose. I'm going here and it shows me only the forms that are used in this very process. And I can toggle on business requirements. So now all the forms, so there was this one as well, all the forms that have this custom field in this case, but it works for quantify as well, or for the text attachments, it will show directly on the canvas. Okay, and the same I can toggle it off. Why does this one doesn't toggle off? Because this one is set permanently. Because I've set manually in the attachment, I said, all right, you're displayed on the canvas all the time. It's basically immune to the forms visibility. All right, the forms visibility is a sort of an override, temporary, local to highlight. Temporary or not, because I can actually save it for everyone. I can just make it permanent like I did for this if I'm clicking saving for everyone. If I'm saving just for me, that means that the process now, wherever there's a business requirements, it will show, but not necessarily for the other people opening this process. So when I'm doing in a business analysis mode, I'm trying to understand requirements, I'm trying to get this information from people to create my new CRM, it's very convenient to be able to know which box we have or we haven't gathered the business requirements of our new system. So the forms visibility is very flexible. Is very flexible to show the additional data on the canvas. I like using it with custom fields because the custom fields have this sort of visual little badge, we call them badge or pills here of the must-have, which you can color. So for example, what we saw is that this business requirement was a should have and a must have. Let's save. What I can do is we can assign different colors to it. So I'm going into my admin panel, custom fields, business requirements is here. I'm going to edit the custom field and I can have different colors. So let's say this one, I'm just gonna pick random colors, purple, less purple, and even less so, right? So now that will show you colors, we'll go back to the process just to highlight a little improvement we did recently with the workspace color. So now everywhere we have a color picker, it shows you the color palette. It wasn't very consistent. We just released that this week. Okay, so now I've set my colors for my custom fields. They show here, very nice. So be careful actually if you take a color which is too strong, too dark, the black text will not stand out. So maybe we can just select something a bit less, maybe intense. Let's do that. And now the black text is visible. So take that in mind. Keep that in mind when we are choosing colors. I will go back to my process. feature I showed someone recently that they didn't know about. The recently visited icon on the top right corner is like the history of the processes and documents and roles that you visited recently. So that's a quick way to go back directly to a process where you were a couple of minutes ago. So I can, instead of going to the My Process, the folder, etc., I can just click on the rollback here, the little clock icon, highlight, and it goes directly to this process where I was a minute ago. So now, not only I have my custom fields shown on the canvas, which is very good, I also have the color coding that is making it even easier to identify. So it's quite a powerful thing, especially when you're analyzing a process, when you want to capture, I don't know, quantify on each box, quantify. Okay, now we have it only in one box. We have a bit more data gathering to do. I really like this forms visibility when I'm in workshop. It can be, especially when we are leveraging forms quite a lot. Yeah, one thing about forms actually is that when we are using a form here, let me just pick one for now. I have this automation assessments. Let's say I have mixed, just picking random things. And I will display it on the canvas by clicking again the little visibility. Here you see that pretty much all the fields show when it's on the canvas, and we can customize that. Okay, we can go in the forms property and tell, all right, you show when it's on the canvas, these fields are not very useful. They don't bring any value for a quick rapid analysis. So you can decide to hide some of the fields just on the canvas. All right, they will show when you're on the left panel, but on the canvas they will be hidden to make it a bit less gigantic, like we have here. So what I showed now is I showed the highlights, very good also for end users, that works very well with roles. I showed the forms visibility with the custom fields and a traditional form. I will actually go and hide that. Now the last thing that I wanted to show today is the style rules. So style rules is historically the feature we had to make content stand out in Spark. The setup is a little bit more complicated, but also offers a bit more customization. So style rules is, as the name says, I can apply a style to a box that matches a given set of criteria, matches a couple of rules. So I've prepared one for you, so I will just jump to using it, and then I will show you how we will create one ourselves. So here in the map properties, I have a menu called style rules, and I want to highlight all the boxes. I want to change the style of all the boxes that have a business requirements must have. So I enable it, I click save, and now I see that this box became orange specifically. Okay, so that's quite good. I've seen different usage of that to style box depending on matching criteria. Also something for me that we use somewhat temporarily. It's not something I expect that we apply a style rule and it sticks forever and it will show. We talked about style sheets in these drop-ins quite a lot, but I find that every time we incorporate a new design element like an orange border or different bold text or different sizing, backgrounds, color of a box, every time we potentially confuse the end users, all right? Because someone that is not initiated, that doesn't know why this box is orange, maybe like, all right, why is this box orange? There's nothing. What is it that makes this box orange? Is it because there's a marketing analyst? Is it because it's a meeting? Is it because there's a business requirements? So they need to figure it out if they haven't been told why. So be careful every time you include a new design element. I always find that it can bring some confusion. To create a style rules, it's done by admin at the moment, but that's something we are considering opening to selected users. The style rules go here. The one I've just created for the demo today is here, business requirements. So to edit, we can give it a name, business requirements must have, and then we select what we want. We select the form. It's all based on forms. Everything in Spark is a form. So it's based on which form, the custom fields, business requirements. In my case, I want to check the grouping, the group. Yeah, the grouping. Oops, there's something missing. Well, well, the grouping, we can either validate that it's not empty, it has a value. For example, that could be one of the rules, or it has a value, we are matching a value. It could be that there's no value specifically, or in my case, what I set up is must have. And then the last step is to select the style sheets that we want to apply. So in my case, I had a style sheet called orange box. I will show it to you what this orange box style sheet looks like. If I'm going to my style sheets, I have here orange box style sheets that, unsurprisingly, I hope, colors the box orange. Okay, so that's, I see that I have another green box, so that's probably kind of the style sheets that I've developed specifically for these style rules. So style rules now here, make default will enable it by default, which I don't recommend using it, because I find that, as I mentioned earlier, I find that every time we incorporate some design elements, they need to be explained. So I'd rather recommend to use this feature for analysis purpose, but then hiding it when you're ready to, removing it, disabling it when you're ready to publish the process and show it with a wider audience. So this is the three main features we have to make content stand out in Spark. Obviously, there's some other things that you can play with the actual text. You can make some text in bold. You can do some titles. I will enter the full text editor. So when you're here on the what we call the canvas editor, here you don't have all the features that we have in the text editor. You have a couple that are shown here when you highlight the text, and you have like what we call a bubble menu. But if you click here to open the full text editor, clicking this little expand button, you'll have much more options to insert tables, headings, and for example, colors. Want to color a text in salmon color, or do all sorts of things where we can do in there. We can also convert that to a heading, so it looks very big. So that's also a way to highlight, to make content stand out or easier to spot. But again, I'm always very cautious about using too many graphical differences between the boxes, because this will draw my attention, which is by design. But why this box and not the other one? So sometimes I'd rather spend more time crafting the right word, finding the shortest sentences that will have the right words without having to play with different styling. If you have stylings like that and you want to clear it, there's a button available here directly in the bubble menu. This sort of typography icon with a strike through that will just clear the. All right, that's what I wanted to show you today. So highlights, font visibility, style rules, text formatting, which I don't recommend, but you know it exists.